All right, good morning, you guys. It's
Good morning.
Good morning, Hero Moms. Woohoo! We're super
morning.
excited, as always, to hang out with you guys, and especially to talk about what we're going to be talking about today. We've hopefully you guys have seen the topics that we're going to be discussing because we put an announcement out yesterday, right, Kels?
Yes, we did. We did. Weight loss hacks.
Oh my gosh, you guys, this is such a huge subject for so many of the ladies that we speak to who end up coming into Hero Mom Nation and getting into the Hero Mom Legacy Academy. And I think it's just really huge because all of us very, very innocently are looking for some answers that are going to solve some problems that we've been dealing with for years and years and years. And all three of us have our own experiences of how we have tried to look for, an easy solution to a problem that literally plagues our life, and that is our health. So we're going to talk about that. I'm very excited about this topic because, one, we have a lot of personal experience around these things that we're going to be discussing with you, but also because we see it and understand it as a topic of absolute sort of, I would say, like a desperate need to understand for the women who do look for programs like what we offer. So what we're talking about is weight loss hacks. Is it really the easy button? That's what we're talking about because we're all doing that. I mean, raise your hand if you're that person ever who's stayed up in the middle of the night and watched those late night infomercials on all of the equipment, all of the pills, the easy button pills, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And purchased just hundreds of dollars on things.
Thousands.
Yeah, just through the infomercial stuff, getting that delivered, and your family going, what? Another gadget, another this, another that you'd use for maybe a week, maybe two, and then it ends up in the donation pile. So we want to talk about that because that's basically, a lot of those are around that kind of stuff. I will say the one that I know that's on late night infomercials is Beachbody, which I never saw on an infomercial.
I did.
I've never seen them on a late night infomercial, thank goodness, but I was already kind of on the path of getting better with my health. And so I bought that because it was just a really awesome program. But I'm not talking about those. I have the ones that like, what shape are you? Are you pear shape? Are you apple shape? This machine will help you improve your abs. And it was basically just like a wooden or plastic plate that you lay on and have like a thing to strap around you like a belt, and you just do crunches. Right. I spent like hundreds of dollars on this little board that just, I don't know what it did. Didn't help me not be what I was, though, that's for sure. So we got all different kinds of Kelly, what were you gonna say?
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm feeling a little anxious and my heart's like racing right now because we haven't done our little dingy thing, our gratitude, or our deep breaths.
All right, I didn't think we were going to do that on this one, but let's go ahead and do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were. Maybe I was just looking forward to it.
Okay, let me grab my dingy thing.
I think Michelle's got hers.
Oh, you do?
I got mine.
Okay. Let's do it together, Michelle.
Ready?
No, hold on. Let me get situated here.
All
right.
One.
Ready? 1,
Yep.
2, 3. Yay!
Did it sound
Alright.
like two of them?
It did.
It actually sounded like 1, which is even better. Because we were like perfectly in sync. Oh my god! It was total perfect timing. Okay. So let's take a nice deep breath in. 3 deep breaths in and out. Ready? Go. All right. You guys, this
Thank
is...
you. I
Thank
think
you.
Rhea missed that last time, too.
Oh. Kelly, thanks for reminding us. She says she can't breathe. I'm sorry,
I'm
girl.
in trouble, too.
It's just it's one of those things that, you know, gets us in that place where we're having a very, very positive mindset. Hang on a second. Yeah.
Well, it changes your energy too. Like even if you didn't have a good night's sleep or you're feeling stressed, it's just kind of
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The oxygen for sure will energize you.
The goal is obviously for us to just get control of that energy, because we set the intention. We're doing the tactic, the strategy that connects us to getting in that mindset and really making sure that we are the ones who are choosing how we show up in terms of our attitude, our outlook, our perspective, so that we can flip things to the positive. So that's why we love starting out that way with you guys. Let's go ahead and hit a gratitude really quick while we're at it. It's always awesome to really understand what are we grateful for. So who wants to go first, girls? And those of you who are watching, please post in the comments what you're grateful for. Something simple, doesn't have to be complex, but it could be. If it's on your mind and it's heavy, go ahead, put that too.
I'll go first then. I'm just grateful for warmer weather. I've had my door open, which leads to some allergies, but that's okay. I know there are friends and family of mine dealing with the major blizzard right now. And it was funny, I was looking at my memories from yesterday on Facebook, and 6 years ago, and I'm sure in between too, but 6 years ago, same day, big old blizzard. So Midwest is not done with their winter yet, so be careful out there, and I will try and send the sunshine and warm weather your way, I promise.
Very nice. Michelle, how about you, babe?
I said this the other day in group, but I'm so grateful for orange blossoms, because my orange tree has so many orange blossoms on it. And when I open the door, like Kelly said, I'm in my office, I've got my doors open, and it smells so good. I just love that smell.
That's a hard scent to find.
Oh man, it is just so beautiful.
It
You're right, it is. It's very unique, and I haven't found one that can replicate it in a bottle. But
no, me neither. Not yet.
Yeah, maybe I should save all the little flowers.
I know. We can make an essential oil.
It's been really windy lately, so every day we've got to get out there and kind of sweep them up. Otherwise, they would end up in the pool, which would be really not good.
No.
But yeah, I'm thinking maybe I should scoop them up and put them in a bowl.
That'd be cool. That'll last for at least a day, right?
Right? Well, I've got stargazers in the house right now, too. They smell really, really pretty.
That's my mom's.
I love that. I like flower smells.
That's Amy Moyer's favorite flower.
Ones. So
Trader Joe's has awesome ones of those. I mean, like really beautiful and great prices.
What, oils or flowers?
Oh, Stargazer, the actual flower.
I grew mine.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh. My mom's going to want to come live at your house too. And you have two mother-in-laws.
I have 3 Marias too that she can come help me make lace.
She would love it. Okay, so for me, what I'm grateful for, I would say is color. Right along with Michelle and just being excited about the flowers that are out right now. I try to take walks every time I have a break during the day. Yesterday, Aaron and I got in probably about 5, just mostly through the neighborhood. And then one we had, hi baby, have a good day. One we had on our actual hiking trail. But there's just flowers everywhere of every imaginable color. And I love just being able to look wherever we are, if we're outside, and just see just this rainbow plus of colors. Just every color in the rainbow, every shade of every primary color, and color combinations. It's just the little tiny flowers and big huge flowers and mixed with bright different colors of greens. It's just so beautiful to be outside and just look around and just see beautiful, beautiful color everywhere. I love being outside right now.
Yeah.
And it's
that's
warm.
all because we got some good rain this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the years when we don't get rain, you don't get that color.
Yeah, that's true. It's usually
like
brown.
Yeah.
It's usually
green
brown. Yeah.
It's brown, green, and brown.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Shades of brown.
Brownish green, brownish brown. That's it.
All right, so you guys, we're going to get into our weight loss hacks. Is it really an easy button? And again, just because of our own struggles with health and trying to find, because we're busy people, we get it, man. We get the whole, I don't have time for this big, huge radical change. I need something quick and easy. But what we know is when we show up that way in life, looking for the easy button, we show up that way in other areas of our life. And there are what I would call easy button types of things that aren't necessarily shortcuts. I would call them more fast forwards. It still requires work, but what it does is take something that takes this long and condenses it into this long. But you still got to do the work. Those are good kind of hacks or easy buttons, if you want to call them that. But we're not talking about that kind. We're talking about the kind where literally we're trying to find the thing that helps us get the maximum results for the least amount of work. No, help us get world-class results with very little effort. And there's just no such thing as that. But let's review some of the things that are out there that promise us that they're going to be the solve for that kind of a problem or that perspective of a problem. So I know Michelle's got an awesome list of ones that we're going to tackle, and just talk about, what different things that we've tried, different things that are out there right now. Good morning, Jody. Good morning, David. Thank you guys for joining us. Good morning, T.
Hi, guys.
So Michelle,
What do you guys want to start with?
what's first on your list?
I just want to say this list we're talking about, it was crazy.
Right? I just
Oh my God.
big BS. I need that big BS button to go.
Exactly.
So where do you guys want to start? You want to start with like one of the most extreme ones? Let's start with the master cleanse. Okay.
Yeah.
So the master cleanse comes up every few years. There's always some celebrity that's using it to get ready for a role or whatever. And basically the master cleanse is also known as the lemonade diet. So it's the one where you drink a homemade lemonade that you make with lemons.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad. Lemons are good. Cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is good. And then you use a special grade of maple syrup. Okay, so those three things, you make yourself some lemonade, and basically you drink lemonade and do an everyday flush, a saltwater flush, until you reach your weight loss goal. So let's break this down. Okay, so the lemonade, when you're drinking the lemonade, basically what you're doing, it's a fast. So there are some nutrients, obviously, in lemons. You have vitamin C. Cayenne is actually the most potent, or capsaicin is the most potent natural stimulant out there. So it actually does boost your metabolism. And then the maple syrup, they say you use a certain kind of grade because it has more nutrients in it, but really it's just sugar so that your body has something to run on. The thing that I do not like about this plan is that, number one, they advise you to fast for as long as you need to, and we know that that's not healthy. Fasting can be really good for you, but an unsupervised fast that goes more than about 72 hours can be really dangerous. And this particular plan makes it even more dangerous because of the saltwater flush. So drinking the lemonade is one thing. So you're fasting and doing that. But on this program, every day you're supposed to drink this huge thing of water, warm water, with like a ton of salt water in it. And they tell you to do this like when you don't need to leave the house, or do it in the bathroom, because literally it flushes almost immediately. You are sick. Like, you have to run to the bathroom. So when you're doing something like that, you're super dehydrating your body. And when you're not feeding it anything other than lemonade with maple syrup and cayenne pepper, your electrolytes can get out of balance, and people have had heart attacks and died doing a program like this. So first of all, I don't like it because it's a little bit wonky. Like, nobody needs to flush their intestines like that on a daily basis. That is not the way you want to lose weight. And after the first couple days, you're really not doing anything but dehydrating your body. Your intestines do not need to be cleaned out or whatever. That's just not sound science or good medical advice. The other thing I don't like about it is you don't learn anything. What are you learning about how you got to where you are? So obviously, if you need to lose weight, whether you need to lose 5 pounds or 105 pounds, you got there because of the choices you were making. And to do a program, any program that doesn't teach you how to not get back into that same situation, to me is not valuable. So yeah, the Master Cleanse, big BS button. Don't do it. So, and I've tried it. I actually, a few years ago, two girlfriends and myself, we said, okay, we're going to try this Master Cleanse. I think Beyonce had done it for a role.
Yes, and she calls it, actually, when she did it, it was called the maple syrup diet.
Right, but it's the same thing. So
It
she
is.
probably just didn't want to pay the Master Cleanse people, because there is an author of a book called Master Cleanse. I think it's been out since the 60s or 70s. It doesn't matter. That's the diet she did. And the three of us tried it, and I didn't even last 2 days. I was just like, oh no, this is not. I mean, you are miserable. It is horrible. If it was just lemonade, that might be something, because we know that when we fast, your body actually does go into a state of ketosis, even with that maple syrup, because it's so little for the day, you would actually be getting into ketosis. So that's where you're going to get the benefits, but you don't have to starve yourself to do that. You don't have to do anything dangerous to do that. And the saltwater component for the flush is for sure something that will not only make you uncomfortable, it'll probably keep you from going to work. And you're just miserable. Why would you want to be in the bathroom? You don't need to. You can't, there's no way to poop out your weight. I mean, and I think a lot of people buy into that, and that's really sad, because you could get really sick, much less be uncomfortable and have another fail in your calling. For me, that's how it was. Like, I would try this, and this, and everything, it was like, oh, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. You know, and there goes another. Even just the ingredients for that were at least $50, you know, so it's like, yeah, just, if it sounds too good to be true, probably too good to be true.
So besides lemon, I've also seen apple cider vinegar instead of lemon.
Yeah, there's one that's like apple cider vinegar and honey, and again, it's basically the same thing, but an apple cider vinegar does have good nutrients in it, but you can't live off of it. It's not, I mean, they try to make it like, oh, this is nutritious. It's not nutritious. I mean, it is nutritious as a part of a very good diet. It's not something you can live on. And I know young people. I have a girlfriend whose daughter did that apple cider vinegar and honey. She would make herself like a tea. But first of all, she was in her early 20s, and she did it to lose like 10 pounds. I mean, we know that you can lose 10 pounds of just water in a week. So the point is, and then she still, I've watched her grow into a young woman, she's now in her 30s, still struggling, because, again, you're not learning anything when you do something like that. So unless you're trying to get ready, like for, you know, something, if you're getting pictures taken or something like that, where maybe you want to take off some water weight, that's kind of a different scenario. But as far as losing body weight and having a program that's sustainable, neither one of those, in my opinion, are sustainable.
Yeah, and honestly,
or healthy.
The best way to get ready for something like, you know, a wedding or a photo shoot or something like that is to do the work of being a healthy person, so that when the photo shoot comes, you don't have to go do something crazy and extreme. Like, to think in terms of what extreme thing do I need to do, because I'm so desperate and I want those results immediately right now. And it's not really the easy button, it's the desperate button is what I think is a better way to characterize it. And what it does for you psychologically is, one, it shows you that basically, you know, your mind starts to believe things about itself, that you can't even do a normal diet. The only thing you can do is be in the state that you're not happy being. And I'm speaking from experience, you guys. This is how I used to talk to myself. You're fat. You can't handle doing anything that's going to be sustainable, that gets you the results that you want. So it's almost as a punishment, I would do these extreme things in hopes that they would get me a really great result. But how can you get a really great result? It just made it worse, like Michelle was saying earlier, when I couldn't sustain the results. So I remember one time way back in, oh my gosh, the early 90s, I was doing fen-phen. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh,
That's not even one of the ones that we're talking about.
I lasted on that one.
Oh my gosh, I lasted a month on fen-phen, but here's the thing, because decades or so later, we found out, right, that people were dying from having used fen-phen.
Right.
And I didn't, here's how lazy I was about my own health. I only did fen. I had fen-phen, but one of them was like doing it once a day. One was like once or like twice or maybe 3 times a day. I can't remember, but it was on a different program, like in terms of frequency. And I was so lazy that I couldn't even like be bothered with taking the second fen those other times of the day. So I did it for a short period of time, but for both of them, but I did it for a month for one of them, and I lost 18 pounds. I was a big girl. I was pretty close to 200 pounds at that time. And I was like, holy smokes. And the doctor, I could hear her in the hallway talking to the other. This girl lost 18 pounds on fen-phen. So it must have been new for them. I don't know. But I didn't continue on with it because I was telling myself, you're a loser. You can't even take fen-phen. You can only take fen. You don't even deserve these cheated results. And so I stopped doing it. And of course, within a very short period of time, I was back up to nearly 200 pounds again.
Well, that stuff was straight speed.
It was basically like legal speed.
The company was actually a San Diego-based company, I remember, and they got sued up one side and down the other. It was very dangerous. And my mom and I actually did it, and I lasted 3 days. On the third day, I was on the freeway, and I got like almost a panic attack because I was so amped up on this stuff. And I had to pull over on the freeway, and I was like, oh man, this is not for me. And I'm really sensitive about medications, and even caffeine can make me a little bit wonky, but it was bad, and it scared the heck out of me. And I remember later when they were saying people that were dying of heart attacks, and I'm like, thank goodness I stopped, because I was probably one of those people, because my body reacted so severely to it. But
I just remember I had the shakes.
Even I remember my mother-in-law had said something to me, like back in the 60s and 70s, if you wanted to lose weight, your doctor would just give you pills, and they would give you speed. So basically, here's I think there's songs about it even, Mother's Little Helper. Like, you're just cleaning the house and, getting all into it. And,
oh my God.
They were thin, but these women were like whacked out on speed.
Oh my God.
Not good for you, right? And then you have the other problems with like depression and other things when they would come off of these diet pills. And now today, I mean, if you asked your doctor for one of those pills, it's like, that's something you get from a drug dealer. That is not something that gets prescribed. But through the years with medicine, they'll put it on the market, and then when a certain amount of people die, they just take it off. It can be really, really, really dangerous. So
that's insane. So I can't even count how many extreme weight loss things that I've done over the course of the years. None of them were around, except towards the end when I actually got my results and sustained them. None of them were based around something that was sustainable or that taught me emotionally how to think differently about food or about myself or what I was actually going for. They were all geared towards, here, let us help you lose weight really, really quick. Let's make it super easy for you. Everything's already done in a package for you. Just take this package and consume this on this day and that day, or go eat whatever you want, and it counts as a point here or a point there, and all you need is this many points a day. And all of it was absolutely marketed and created to make it feel like losing weight was easy, and you didn't have to think about actual health, mental health or physical health, to do it. So, Michelle, what's another one that you have on your list?
Well, you brought up the point thing, so I want to talk. Let's talk a little bit about Weight Watchers.
Mm-hmm.
And Weight Watchers is actually a program that I don't hate. Like, I don't want to say bad things about Weight Watchers. I know a lot of people who have had great success on Weight Watchers, but they have changed in the last several years their approach to kind of educating people, because, you know, when you're just counting points, there's a lot of shortcuts. And I mean, we're talking fast food shortcuts, where if you're looking at just points and you're saying, okay, today I can eat a Taco Bell bean burrito, I can eat this frozen dinner and this frozen or this packaged Weight Watcher baked good. So what I don't like about it is that there are a lot of room for cheating. What we won't call, I mean, not cheating. It's not cheating on their program because it only goes by points, but it's not really based on good nutritional science, in my opinion. If I would never tell a client, well, if you want to, you can just eat 2 bean burritos from Taco Bell today. That might be the only thing you can eat, but go ahead and do it, because where's the nutrition? I mean, they're loaded with preservatives, loaded with salt, you know, and then there's also the Weight Watcher packaged food. If it was a point system based on this protein, this vegetable, this fruit, you know, I would probably be a lot more into it. But because you can buy these packaged and frozen foods that are made in the factory, that are laden with preservatives, that a lot of them still have sugar in it. I mean, you've got people, we know from being in this industry now for as long as we have, that almost every single person that comes to us for help has some kind of a sugar addiction. Even if they're not a sweets person. I was never a cake and cookie person. I'm a bread and pasta girl. So I never thought I had a problem with sugar. I don't like sugar. I don't eat cake. I don't, you know, I'm that person. But I had a huge problem with sugar because everything I was eating was some kind of white flour type product that basically turns immediately into sugar.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can still eat all of those unhealthy things and you're still not addressing the core mindset and the core, like Paula said, you're not getting this right. You're not getting away from those food addictions and learning, you know, how to feed your body in a way that is going to give you the best energy, you know, the best brain power, all of these things. You can't get that eating Taco Bell bean burritos. I'm sorry. So that's my beef with them. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I think Weight Watchers would be somewhere in the middle. There's some value to what they're teaching, because they are teaching you to be aware of what you're consuming. But the point thing, it's like, I don't like that you can fill those points with, you know, alcohol, Taco Bell, and all those cakes and other things that really you want to learn to stop, you know, consuming those things, especially on a daily basis. So
yeah, and I would say too, and Kels, tell me like what you think. If somebody, when I was obese and somebody approached me with a program like that, I'd be, heck yeah, I can eat Taco Bell and have my girls' night out and all that stuff, and still drop weight. But, you know, my mindset was not around what I can do to actually be healthy. You know, like, because some of these things, you can lose weight eating some of these things, but it's not going to improve your health. You're still going to be highly susceptible to all kinds of diseases or chronic illnesses. And I'm not willing to trade off an easy button hack around weight loss for being a person who has a chronic illness, who's on medications for the rest of my life, or suffering, getting cancer, all of those kinds of things, just so I can cut corners to get an external result, you know, that I look healthier on the outside, but inside I'm just like destroying things in order to get there on the outside. And Kelly, you have a really great story on exactly doing that. Well, share that, the chicken and wine diet.
yeah.
Yeah, actually, there's two aspects of my story. The first one, I'll get to the chicken and wine, but extreme exercise for me was the way I combated eating poorly. So I didn't eat a lot, but I ate poorly. And I was eating the fast foods. I was, doing that stuff, just not very much of it. And I was doing extreme workouts to kind of punish myself. But I do remember, so I don't have a lot of experience with some of the extreme diets, but the extreme things that I would do for exercise. So like an energizer to make sure I could work out longer and harder. I fell in love. We had this friend of ours that was making supplements. So he had a full supplement business, and he came out with this stuff. Oh my God, I loved it. Even to this day, I'd be like, ooh, should I take it? Should I not? But it was called Thermal Thunder. And so it was a thermogenic type thing, which helps you burn fat. And it was grape flavored. And well, it had a lot of flavors, but my favorite was grape. It was so good. You shake it up, it was like drinking grape juice. But this stuff had ephedra in it. So of course it's, you can't get your hands on it now because it's illegal. And he got in trouble for it and everything too. But that stuff, that was crazy. So I was putting ephedra in my body all the time, which again is a drug, to be able to work out harder, work out longer, and punish myself for having McDonald's. Or I would never go to McDonald's now because that almost makes me puke a little in my throat. But back then I loved it, because I was addicted to that kind of stuff. But the wine and chicken diet, that I thought that was a time in my life that I was dealing with a lot of issues of my dad dying, a broken marriage, all those kinds of things. And I wasn't taking care of myself. I thought I was extreme exercising. So I was doing a lot of exercising, a lot of running, a lot of hard running, because I was running through grief and I was running through worth issues, and biking. I was doing all that kind of stuff. But I was only feeding myself chicken. I would have chicken breast. And it became, in my warped thinking, it became like, how little could I eat today? Or I had this for lunch, I'll have this for dinner, and that's all I'll have because I'm full. I was telling myself this, and I got very small. I was drinking wine too. That's all I was drinking was white wine and chicken.
Because white wine goes best with chicken.
Yeah, right?
Goes best with depression.
Yes, it goes best with depression.
Of Kelly's pairing of the day.
Exactly.
I'm going to make a Kelly, you made this one up, right?
Yeah, I did.
You guys, do not go out. Do not go out and do this. Okay, it's bad. It's really bad.
No, because unless you have the wrong mindset, a poor mindset, a bad mindset, that's not the place to be. It was destructive for me. It was destructive for those around me. Because I wasn't healthy. I was tired all the time. But I was skinny. My pants were falling off. And the thing was, it wasn't sustainable. So once the depression fell away, once my life started to get back on track, the pounds started to come back on too, because the chicken wasn't filling me up. I was still running, I was still doing all that stuff, but I was eating more, and I wasn't paying attention to what I was eating. So yeah, there's no sidestepping what's good for you and what's not good for you. And it's like Michelle said, putting alcohol into a point category or something. It doesn't work that way. Alcohol is not meant to help you lose weight. It's not there for that reason. And, it has sugar in it. So again, and in this, I was still, occasionally I would still open up that can of frosting because that was my vice. And I would literally just sit there and eat the whole thing. I know people probably think I'm joking about that, but I do, I would go get, it's $1.29 at the store or something. It's cheap.
Cheap therapy.
And I would just sit there and eat. It was like, it tasted so good.
Okay,
But
so think about this from the cooking show on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
What ingredients went into your frosting?
Oh yeah, that was cream cheese and
Butter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about on a shelf, a can of frosting. Do you think it has, not refrigerated, does it have cream cheese and butter?
Probably has Crisco. It probably had it's disgusting.
Chemicals. It's just laden with.
Oh, I'd sit there. I'd be like all happy, and as I'm eating and I'm getting like halfway through the can, my body's already going through the sugar crash. So I'm like half asleep, going, oh, yeah, I gotta finish this, and then I'm like dead to the world for the next hour, because it's like you gotta sleep all that. I mean, it's so horrible, And as a runner, as an athlete, can you imagine trying to pump blood through your system when you've got Crisco everywhere? It's just
and sugar crystals.
I know, it's just so bad.
Yeah, that's how we get, especially for diabetics. When your sugar goes high, the inside of your veins and arteries can actually get, scraped from the sugar that's pumping through your blood. It's incredibly dangerous. This is why heart disease and strokes are so much more prevalent in the community for diabetics but that's true for everyone. So you don't have to be a diabetic to get those negative results. That is so dangerous.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's, going back to the Weight Watchers thing, when you're telling people it's still okay to eat these cakes, but we're only going to give you one that's this big, and it's still got all the Crisco and the sugar and everything else. And the reality is, girls, I've tried these things. I have been the one that buys the little pack. It's 100-calorie pack, and it's got this little lemon cake in it. And I'm the one who'll be, even though I don't like cakes, it's like, oh, well, I'll eat one, and then, oh, well, I want to eat another one, so I'm going to skip such and such. I'll skip or I'll have my dinner or something so that I can sit there and eat stuff that I don't even like. I don't even like it. But because of the addictive response that our body has to those types of nutrients, and I hate to call them nutrients, but they are technically, that's what we call them, the carbohydrates, it's really sad that somebody doesn't even like sugar is still going to sit there and eat those cakes. So to say that you have enough self-control to only eat one little cake it's just not reasonable, because you haven't learned anything about why your body wants to eat that little cake.
I was a size 6 and still had 225 was my cholesterol. That is not healthy. Didn't matter, I looked fine, but, I was ready for a heart attack.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was feeding my body healthy things that I could get my cholesterol to a level. I'm a size 6, but my cholesterol is not 225 right now. So it's like, it's so different.
Well, and once you start eating clean and you start eating healthy, your tastes change. So you can get past that sugar addiction, and your body will start to crave. I know Jody had something a couple weeks ago where she posted about salads and how she was falling in love with salads and like the diversity of salads and how good they taste and this and this. And I'm like, bingo, she's over the hump because all those foods are tasting good to her. She's starting to crave the nutritious foods. And your body wants that. It wants to be filled with good stuff. But when we feed it processed and packaged junk, it feeds. If you think the food companies don't know that stuff is addictive, look at how many different names on one of those packages. You look at one the next time you're in the grocery store, or God forbid you have one in the pantry, take it out and look at the ingredients. I guarantee you there's at least 3 kinds of sugar. Like corn syrup, regular sugar. I mean, it's so infuriating because they want you to not know. They want you to not know how addictive the product is. And the same thing with the chemicals. I mean, there's been some research on some of the preservatives, but you think about that. There's been those studies where you take the McDonald's Happy Meal or whatever and put it in the garage, and it never decays. Who's to say there's not addictive properties to those preservatives as well? I mean, that is just not food. And the food industry knows that we are addictive type people by nature. We all are. Everybody has some kind of a vice, and they feed on that and they capitalize on that. They want you to be addicted to whatever it is that they're selling. So anything that proposes a package type type food experience, I'm probably going to be against, because I want people to eat natural food that comes, from the ground or whatever, because there doesn't have all of those other caveats with it, the sugar and all of the other addictive things that are bad for us, definitely in the long run.
You guys, I just want to say, for those of you who are watching, if there's a diet out there right now that you're curious about, like what we think about that, put that in the comments. Or other ones maybe that you've heard of in the past that you thought were kind of extreme too, and you're just curious, like, what would I have, how would I have reacted, or would it have helped me if I would have done it? But it just, again, I just want to emphasize, coming from the person who struggled with weight for so many years, decades, that if we're not getting, that combination, it's got to be the combination of what's going on up here, moving your body and putting the right things in your body. It's just not going to get you the long-term results. And what we know about the weight loss hacks, or those easy buttons, which I've tried a million of, they don't solve your problems. They don't even solve your problems temporarily. And when I say temporarily, I mean just like, for a short period of time, but not like a micro period of time.
It's a Band-Aid that wears off.
Right.
Totally. And quickly, too.
It's a lie. It's a lie to yourself. It's you saying, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to get healthy, but I'm going to do it with this approach that's harmful to my body, that's not set up to actually really get my health in place. And so when you do it and you don't get the health results that you're looking for, you just prove to yourself that you're lazy, that you're not worthy of keeping your word. You're not worth you doing the extra work to solve that problem long term. You're just filling your self-belief of, your belief about yourself with all kinds of really horrible, self-sabotaging, negative beliefs, which turn into lots of negative conversations within yourself, which manifests into you not being able to keep your word with other people. It starts to eat away at relationships, and it starts to come out in other areas of your life that just start absolutely destroying the way that you experience life. So it's really important to understand that when you go for a program that you want results because you want a better body, ultimately better health, right? That's what it really means. That you need to have a program or have something else in addition to the program that's helping you change your perspective about yourself and your relationship with food. Why are you going for those sugary foods, or those foods that convert to sugars, or those ones that just like really make you feel good when you're eating foods that, it's emotional. You're choosing it for an emotional reason. You're bored, you're angry, you're happy, whatever it is, you're choosing that because you just want to get like sort of a food high. And maybe consciously you're not thinking that, but ultimately that's what it is. When you think every single time about when you've made a bad food choice, what was going on with you at that moment. For me, it's like, I'm in a hurry and I'm really, really hungry and I just want to eat something. So stress. Or I'm really pissed off at somebody right now. I just need something to help me kind of come down. So I need, nachos and margaritas. Those are the things that I'm talking about. Just like really think about your volition of why you're choosing that thing that's not healthy for you in that moment. And you'll start to see some of the underlying psychological things that are going on in terms of limiting beliefs or your relationship with food. Food is not actually in your life to nourish you. It's actually in your life as a drug to help you cope with some kind of an emotion. So when you're in that kind of state of a relationship with food, then these other diet programs, extreme or whatever, aren't going to be what's going to fix your health, right? So what are some of the other extreme diets that are out there, Michelle?
All right, so I want to talk about a little bit about some medically supervised programs, only because, let's talk about it. So there's OptiFast and MediFast. Both of these are basically fasting programs. You check in once a week with a doctor or nurse. They take your blood to make sure your electrolytes and everything are in balance. And a lot of times you'll get a vitamin shot, or usually it's B12 once a week or once every other week. And that's supposed to help with your energy and everything else. So a lot of people will do these as standalone programs, or they will do them, they're actually required to be done before bariatric surgery. So the thing that I don't really like about these programs is, again, you have one option. I mean, you've got the shake, which it might come in chocolate and vanilla, so you got two options. And then there's usually some kind of broth, that's so you can have some soup. But you're not really eating anything. So even though you might lose weight, and you will lose weight rapidly because your body, the shakes are heavy in protein, you're going to get into a state of ketosis. So your body will drop weight, but you're not learning anything. And the reason they're having you come in and check in every week is a liability issue. They want to make sure that your electrolytes are okay, you're getting what you need, because if your blood work comes back funny, they pull you off the program because it's dangerous, right? So what I don't like about it for the long term, the people that do this just as a solution, is that, again, you're not learning anything. You're not learning about nutrition. You're not learning how to feed your body well. And it's really such a state of deprivation. Again, it is almost like punishment. So for all these years, I ate pizza and burritos and hamburgers. Now I'm going to suffer for 4 months on just eating a shake 5 times a day. And I'm going to shrink, which is great. I mean, you might come off of it looking great. But I think the statistics for the people that gain the weight almost right back is super high because you didn't really learn anything. So, and then the people that are doing it before bariatric surgery, I think you have to lose 50 pounds before you get the surgery done. And then a lot of people lose a lot of weight right in the recovery period after the surgery because they're taking out part of your digestive system. And you really can't eat because if you eat, it just kind of comes right back up. So what's the point of having a surgery? If you lose 50 pounds before, and then you lose another 40 or 50 in the time that you're recovering from the surgery, and you still haven't learned anything, and it's really still a punishment. So if I have that surgery and now I decide that I'm going to have a family dinner or whatever, and I eat more than a cup of food, I have to go to the bathroom and throw it up. So now I have an eating disorder, and eating that I actually paid for, and a doctor promoted. So I really don't like this one because to me it's just a moneymaker, and people are suffering. The eating should still be enjoyable, and when you know how to nourish your body. I mean, there's so many great things you can eat every single day that you are satisfied. You don't feel cheated. You don't have to punish yourself. Don't worry about the pizza you ate when you were 25. Let's focus on what you need right now to be healthy and to be happy. So you see people that are in this deprived state, and it creates so many psychological issues, not to mention the idea of throwing things up if you eat too much. It's just one that I absolutely detest. I hate the whole idea of the entire thing. And people think it's safe because it's medically supervised. And I'm not saying that it's dangerous because you are checking in every week. It's dangerous to your psyche, and you should not have to punish yourself for, what you did in your 20s, especially most of us didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know that McDonald's was horrible. I didn't, we talked about this before with the fish fillet, right? And I'll eat fish. It's good, right? It's healthy. You just don't know until you know, right? Exactly. So that's my take on that one.
I'll just add too that with that particular choice, it seems like an easy button, but it's not easy. You still have to go through the work of losing that food in the that weight in the beginning. Which, Michelle, when we were talking about this earlier, I thought you had such an excellent point. If you're losing 50 pounds, why not just keep going? Keep going and lose more, but do it healthfully. If you can lose 50 pounds, you can lose all the weight. Will it take longer? Yeah. but you have your whole body still. Like, they didn't have to cut parts of you out.
Right.
And, you know, to have those kinds of results, and not just that, it's just like the whole shift of then how your body has to function just so that you can lose weight in this really unnatural kind of way for you. Again, literally, you have to eat different than normal people. I'm going to say normal, like people who haven't had that surgery, eat, in terms of like just how your digestive tract works. Not even talking about the types of foods, but the digestive tract. And what I notice a lot too is, again, there's nobody in there teaching you how to change your relationship with food, change what's going on inside of you that causes you to have negative emotional experiences where you feel like you have to escape from that by eating food that hits those happy hormones, and helps you feel sort of a temporary calm or happiness when you're having those negative emotional experiences. Like, that's not, nobody helps you understand how to fix that problem. And so you're still grabbing for those. So maybe some people who are going through those kinds of surgeries where they'll try to do it with food, but then they see that their body reacts the way it does, where it just vomits it all up, and that makes them feel worse or bad in a different way. So they turn to some other thing that's going to help them not feel that negative emotional experience. So it might be,
or they just take the food and throw up.
well, yeah, they'll eat it and they'll vomit.
Dangerous. But the other thing about those programs is they're crazy expensive. You're talking over $100 a week, you know. So it's like, if I'm counseling someone on their nutrition, I don't want you to spend $100 a week on a supplement, and that's what I consider that to be. I want you to spend $100 a week on good food. Like, you're still not learning anything. And imagine these programs are 4 and 6 and longer months long. So you're going to have 5 shakes a day. What happens when it's your kid's birthday, or your grandpa's, 70th, or your dad retires, or whatever, so-and-so gets married? It's like, there's so many things in life. Wouldn't you rather learn how to keep feeding yourself and go through these celebrations and enjoy the food? Food is meant for us to enjoy it. I really don't like the whole deprivation thing. And most people, I don't know any person that can actually stick to that and not have any, lapses in those shakes for that amount of time. And then you feel more, you're just reinforcing those psychological issues where, oh man, see, I can't do it. I'm a loser. I'm a this, I'm a that. And really all it was, you wanted to enjoy the kid's birthday party. They shouldn't be punished. So I don't like any program that is more like a punitive thing where you're really sacrificing so much that you can't have a regular type life. And then the idea too that it's that expensive. I mean, all it really is 500 calories or less and almost a pure protein shake. You could buy that at Sprouts for $20. So I don't like that. People like this because it's medically endorsed, it's medically supervised, and to me that is just another gimmick. It's just a gimmick being perpetuated by the medical community.
And by the way,
Paula said,
go ahead.
It alters your body. It doesn't alter your mind.
Right.
And I witnessed this with somebody that I knew that had this surgery, and this person, you're told you can only eat so much because everything's smaller now. There's not all that stuff going on, and so that person got around it, and for lunch they would eat a Snickers bar. Yeah. That's what they would eat for lunch, and it's like, you just had surgery.
Because they're looking at the volume. They're looking at the volume.
I can fit this much in and it'll be okay. And it's like, yeah. And it didn't work. I mean, she was dropping weight, but it didn't stay off, and it stopped coming off.
Right.
Yeah.
So imagine you spend all those thousands of dollars by the end, and you still end up back to square one because just the structuring of the program, and then again, you haven't changed what's going on here.
And not just that, you guys, you aren't the one who created any of the results that you are having that appeared externally as success. You didn't do that. So therefore, when you want to celebrate, you can't even celebrate yourself for having done the work on that, because it wasn't really you. And that's very, very, that's a big deal that I point that out, because when I was going through my weight loss, it was imperative that I understood that it was my choices, that it was the work that I did, the dedication that I had, the determination that I had to do the things that I had to do to get my body into a healthy state, because then that completely changed the way that I thought about myself and about my future. I went from being this depressed, hopeless, obese woman to being this confident, ambitious leader. And I'm not saying that to be ego. It just became that way because my confidence grew within myself and my own capabilities to step up and do more, be a bigger contributor to my life, to my children's life, to my world, and to others who I could pay it forward to. And that positioned me in a situation where I was able to become a leader, which I was happy to step into in service. But if I didn't have the wins that I knew that I had done the work, I would not have the aspiration. I would not believe in myself that I could step up into those opportunities, and I would be missing a ton of life experience for myself. And so it's very important that you understand you're doing something that you're doing, that you're getting great results because it's something that you've done the work for, that you've put the time in for, you've done the research, you're following the program, you're getting control again of what is happening in your life, and you're creating results that you want for the reasons that you want it. And not that you shouldn't have support or help, that's fine, but those should be tools for you that you use because they're in alignment with who you are and the way and where you want to go. They shouldn't be what's coming into your life, taking over and fixing you, and then you got to go out and figure out how to sustain that fix. Does that make sense, you guys? You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Huge shift.
All right, I've got one more. Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, so my biggest pet peeve right now on the easy button are these external ketone supplements. So there's so many companies out there right now that are selling you ketone supplements. The keto thing is taking off and it's super popular, and getting your body into a state of ketosis, we know scientifically, is where you switch your body from using carbohydrates for energy to using your body's own stored fat for energy. So what I do not like about these supplements is that, first of all, if you really want to lose weight, you need to do nutritional ketosis. So you want to learn how to use your nutrition to force your body or to train your body to use fat for fuel. And if you have fat to lose, your body will use your fat and then you lose weight. When you take an external ketone supplement, basically you're raising the ketone level in your body, which can be good for your brain. And if you're an endurance athlete or something like that, there are places where a supplement like that would be helpful. Mm-hmm. But if you want to lose weight, and if you read in the little tiny print, it will say to you that it will only work with proper diet and exercise. So the supplement is going to, turn your ketone stick pink, and you're going to get excited. Oh, I'm in ketosis. But really, you're not in nutritional ketosis. And until you get your body into a state of nutritional ketosis, you're not going to drop the pounds. So you're spending, again, hundreds of dollars, or even if it's $30 or $50, you're spending it to turn your 10-cent keto stick pink so that you get excited, but you're not in nutritional ketosis, so you're not going to have that effect of the fat melting away. So this is like my biggest pet peeve right now, because whenever there's some kind of a diet or nutritional type of revolution or kind of a fad, which, by the way, keto is not a fad. It's been around for over 100 years. In the medical journals, it's been used for, kids with epilepsy. This is something that the medical community knows about, but it's not through supplementation. It's through nutritional ketosis, changing the way your body fuels its system, especially the brain, by using fat. So for me, it's just kind of like preying on people. It's just, oh, well, the people want this, so let's give it to them and lie and charge so much money for something that's not going to do much for you unless you change the way you eat and add exercise. So this one is huge for me because it's so easy. We know it's so easy. This is kind of what our program is about. It's not hard to get yourself into nutritional ketosis. And guess what you need to do it? Food that you can buy in any grocery store. It just floors me. And I see people doing it, and especially people that I know don't have $100 extra to spend. It's like, why would you do that when you could go to the grocery store and buy amazing food and do it yourself? You train your body how to do this, and you can, it's totally sustainable. You can do it forever. The other thing that I don't like about it, it's not responsible science to not teach people how to do things like carb cycle. So in our program, we know especially for a woman's body, if you don't have carbohydrates at least one time a week, your endocrine system can get completely out of whack. So you can go spend $100-something on some external ketone supplement and get your body in a really bad state to where you're not losing weight anymore. And you know what's going to happen when you go to that rep on month 3 after you've already spent almost $500? They're going to say, well, are you following this eating program? They're going to say no, because I've been taking your fabulous supplement, and they're going to blame it on your diet. So why not learn how to do it with your diet in the first place and not spend money on some magic little pill or drink? So that's my 5 cents. Right?
Yeah. And again, that just boils down to really what it boils down to, you guys, is taking responsibility to change what you have created. So
Right.
You are where you are because of the choices that you have made. That's just the bottom line. So trying to find something that can hack getting you out of a place where you got yourself into is not going to be what makes you feel good about you. And the whole reason for wanting to get healthy is to feel good about you. It has to be a combination. Again, all good things come with a combination of actions that have to be in place to get those optimal results. And one is you gotta take responsibility. For me, that was my absolute first step that I had to take in order to make the change. When I look back on how I made the change successfully, the sustainable change, it boils down to that. All the other times that I tried to do weight loss programs, weight loss hacks, easy button stuff, I never took responsibility. Oh, I'm this way because my mom made me finish my plate before I could leave the dinner table, and so I still do that. Oh, I'm this way because my kids don't like eating healthy foods, and so because they're so picky, so I buy the stuff that they like, and then I eat their leftovers or eat the same things they're eating. Oh, I'm this way because my husband doesn't want to give up such and such foods that we have to have in our kitchen, so I have to make that. I have to make food the way that he likes to eat. Otherwise, I become a short order chef, and I don't have time or energy for that. And then the list just goes on and on. I'm busy. I don't have time to make home cooked meals that are made from scratch, and so I just have to get the stuff in a box or go through the drive-through. All of the things, like when we're thinking about all of the other kind of successes that we want to have in our life, for some reason our self-care is the thing that gets bumped. Instead, what we really need to do is manage our time better and not put things on our time plate that don't need to be there, that don't serve us long term. So taking responsibility of you are where you are. So therefore, what I love about that is it's not a self-punishment thing. It's like, it's very empowering. Okay, if I'm taking responsibility that I am where I am because of my choices, then that means I have the power to change where I am. If I make a different choice, I'm going to have a different result. So what is that different choice going to be? For years, for me, it was I'm this weight because of our busy schedule. My son played ice hockey. What goes great with ice hockey when you're waiting for your kid to get ready for his game or practice? The Starbucks around the corner is great for ice hockey because nice, hot, sugary coffee inside of a freezing cold ice rink is a perfect, beautiful combination, and it just makes me feel so good. And then after the practice or after the game, let's go to a restaurant and have pancakes or, country fried steak and, whatever's open or nearby. And this became a ritual part of that stuff. And my husband doesn't want to go for walks with me or join the gym with me or eat differently at home. So it's his fault. If he would just want to change something, then we could have healthier food. Like this, the blame list went on and on and on. It was endless. Even if somebody could disprove one of those things, I would find something else to blame it on. So I was not taking responsibility for my choices. So that was number one. Number two, support. I had to have somebody who was an expert. I was an expert mom, and that was something that I was focused on. That was the most important thing to me. That took up all of my time. And that's fine. That's great. Maybe you worked at that time. I wasn't working full time. So maybe you work or whatever the situation is, other roles that you have in life that are important to you that you want to be great at, but nutrition and fitness aren't one of the things that you're great at, but you want good results. Don't force yourself to believe that you have to become the expert in that right now to get started. This is the perfect situation where you get a buddy who's a fitness enthusiast and he's going to kick your butt if you don't get up and go to the gym, or work with a trainer who's going to have a program laid out for you, or hire a nutritionist who's going to create a meal plan for you. Work with somebody who this is what they do, and you can just show up and follow the expert stuff so that you don't have to take responsibility for having that expert knowledge. That's what I did. I hired a trainer. I got in a program. I had a 6-week structure that I was committed to. I had to buy money or pay money, spend money to buy into the program. Again, skin in the game. Use something where you have skin in the game, where it's going to be a cost to you if you don't do the work. Like I had to spend $250 for the first program I ever did. Mind you, I spent thousands of dollars on other crap that never did anything. But for some reason, that seemed really difficult for me. I felt very guilty, and I'll tell you why. Actually, I do know the reason. It's because I believed I was going to fail. I thought I was going to literally waste more money for my family. I felt like I'm taking $250 out of the bank that could feed my kids to invest in myself, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to complete this or succeed at it. But there was something in me that did believe, and so I went for it. And I made myself stick to it so that I could prove that I wouldn't waste that money. So getting that support and then having a structure or a system. Those are the three things for me. Taking responsibility, having a guide or an expert, and getting in a program that had structure. Once I did that, it changed everything for me. And that take responsibility piece was key on that. So if you think about it, it had all of those, the aspects in it where it's the psychological, the emotional, and the I would say physiological. All of those pieces were in place, and I believe that that's why I was able to succeed with that and sustain the results. And I think for Michelle and Kelly, they could say, looking at their own stories, that those were also in place for them when it finally got to that place where it stuck, right? All the different things they tried that didn't stick, but then when they got to that place where it actually stuck, all of those things were in place, right, you guys?
Right. Yeah, and I think for me, it was a point too where, and I know, Paula, you have a story like this, where you were on the hike, right? Mm-hmm. And it was to the point where it kind of hit rock bottom and say, I need to quit BSing, mm-hmm. because all of these other things are not working, and it's not because necessarily they don't work, it's because I'm not doing the work. I wasn't taking responsibility. So I think that's key. You've got to be ready. You've got to be willing to take responsibility. I do think you need the expert. I do think you need the structure of the program. And like you said, you've got to have skin in the game. It's not going to be magic. There's not, it's not going to happen in 5 minutes. Might not even happen in 5 weeks or 5 months, depending on where you are. But the point is that every single one of us, even if we don't end up at the end being a bikini competitor, we can be 100 times healthier and be present for our families and be aware of what's going on and be able to help another mom or female or a family member that's struggling with the same thing. This is kind of a universal topic. It is an epidemic in this country because of how we are conditioned to feed ourselves on the go, on the fly. This, convenience, convenience, convenience. And I mean, when you start breaking it down, like the moms that say, or the people that say, I don't have time, almost all of the things that are in our program are, at least less than a half an hour. And a lot of them are 10 or 15-minute meals that you put on the plate and you think, wow, did you get this from the restaurant? I mean, this is beautiful. It's delicious and it's easy. So part of it too, you have to be willing to learn. You have to be coachable. If you're one of those people that just has an excuse or a blame for every single situation, maybe you're not ready. You have to be able to look in the mirror and say, I surrender, I'm not the expert, I need help, and I'm going to learn. And in the learning process, you grow and grow, and like Paula said, your confidence goes up, you become empowered, and once you become empowered, the rest is kind of easy. You still have those times where you might need that expert help or that coaching, but you know that you can do it, and you can do it on your own with the stuff you buy in the grocery store in your own kitchen. There's no magic behind it. You don't need that pill. You don't need that, special thing like Paula said for the crunches. You're still going to do the crunch. You don't need a plank. I mean, come on. So that in itself is where the paradigm shifts, and you start having those successes. And once you feel that momentum going and your confidence building and all of those things happening, then you kind of become unstoppable. So yeah, and it's all through learning and doing it yourself. So DIY yourselves, ladies. Let's go.
Exactly. That's where you get the confidence, when you keep hitting those mile markers along the path. And just think of it. It is something that's obviously going to be something you're getting into for the long haul. But every time you hit a mile marker, you get more confidence, you have more learning, you have new skills, you've evolved yourself to be to increase your chance of success. And we, in our program, we have mile markers all along the way. But it's important that you do stop and say, hey, turn back just to look and see how far you've gone, and not to look back with regret or missing something, right? But to look back and really celebrate and observe the progress that you've made because of the work that you did, the choices that you made to get those results along the way. And every time you get further and further and further, you will start to see things open up in your mind that have been closed for so long because you didn't believe in yourself. And not just that, you didn't keep your word to yourself. So now you're sort of also redefining your relationship with yourself, that you now are becoming your own hero. Like, wow, I can do this. And again, this is not ego-based at all. This is you being able to get to that place where you literally can raise the level of your life experience to a much higher place and actually become the woman in the lives of those around you who you want to be, that mom that you want to be, that wife, that friend, that daughter, that sister, whatever it is, to become more of that person who you want to be when you're looking back at your life when you're 100 years old and you have zero regrets. You will be able to do that only if you take responsibility for where you are and start making the changes. And it happens over time. The biggest things that are in your way, that's going to be the stuff that you knock out first. So it's not all going to happen at once. And I'll tell you too, along the way, you're going to run into things that you didn't know were part of the reason that you were blocked. And don't think of them as negatives. Think of them as, hey, I like to describe it like this. When you have emotional stuff coming up in your life that's difficult to push through, fears, doubts, whatever those look like, avoidances, they're coming up because you're on a path of growing. If you weren't on a path of growing and evolving yourself to become a better version of you, then you would not be confronted with these things that are coming up. So when they come up, don't try to avoid them again. Just observe them. Recognize them. It's kind of like when you're sick, right? When you have a sniffle or a cough or you have a headache, your body saying, hey, something's not right. Something is not aligned. We need you to pay attention to what we're feeling right now and address that. Do what needs to be done to make it go away so that we feel good again. So when emotional stuff comes up like that, it's there because it's meant to get you to a place where you're addressing that negative emotional thing, and so that you can get back in the driver's seat behind that thing. Conquer that thing, knock it out, move on. And it should be literally a series of those kinds of things along the path that you're on. It's because all of those things that were in your life that you were avoiding before are the reason you got unhealthy. I'm just being real with you guys. All of the avoidance turning to food.
Continue to come up.
Yes.
It's not like you just get through 1, 2, 3. I have these 3 little things, and I'm just gonna go. I mean, even as you're going, this is the way life is. Things come up. You know, people pass away, relationships end, kids move out. I mean, all kinds, pets die, all kinds of things happen. So it's really, once you get on that learning curve where you start to understand how to deal with these things, then when those things do pop up, it doesn't mean you don't have pain. It doesn't mean that it's not a struggle, but it means that you know how to move through it. Because what most of us have done is bury these things. We didn't move through it. We stepped aside, went under, went however way to avoid it. And that's one of the things we talk about, you know, all throughout our program, is how to not do that, how to confront things head on, and recognize that if you don't take care of these issues, if you continue to avoid things, with whether you're doing it with food, alcohol, whatever, however you're doing it, it's going to come up and bite you in the butt at some time or another. So that's one of the things I love about our program, is that we address those things, and we do it from day one. From day one, we are teaching you mentally and, you know, and spiritually a lot too, where you need to be. It's not just eat this, don't eat that, and good luck. You know, it is a constant learning process, and we give you those tools, and we remind you that you have those tools. We'll see people close to the end or something and have a little hiccup, and they're like, hey, go back to week 1 and go through that avoidance addiction thing, or go through that such and such in the first couple weeks of the program. And people are like, oh yeah, you know, thank you so much. I forgot that we had that. And so it's a constant process, and it's all there for you. It's really brilliant, and I'm really proud to be part of this, because it's not a quick fix. It's not an easy button. It is easy though. It is manageable, and you will learn. Your confidence will grow, and you have this great tribe of women, not just us. You know, all the gals that are in HEROMOM Nation. It's amazing how we rally together and keep pushing people forward. You know, it's just like pure joy, and when someone has a success, we're like, oh God, you feel it. You feel their success. And when someone has a hiccup, you know, you feel that too. And we help people move through by using the tools that we teach. It's not just, rub dirt on it and keep going. You know, it's not like that. And that's the way I was raised. You know, there's no crying in baseball or whatever. It was like, I was taught all those things, like, suck it up, buttercup, and just keep going. But you don't really learn anything when you have that mentality. So,
Kelly, I think the beauty of a program is, and for me, this is like huge for me, is it creates routine. And I know some people are like, oh my God, but routine is not restrictive. It creates a personal freedom. So you're laying a foundation. When something comes along and knocks you down a little bit, you have something to fall back on that you know you can rely on to carry you through. That's one less thing you have to worry about. It's creating a healthy routine for yourself, just like brushing our teeth. We learned a long, long time ago, and we always keep our kids on routines, but somewhere along the way, we lose routines for ourselves. So we create this healthy routine of brushing our teeth, and we have healthy teeth. That is a go-to for everyone. Every single morning that happens. That's what this routine creates too. It creates that foundation so that when something does come up, you don't have to worry about, oh my God, what am I going to make? What am I going to do? You know, you just have your routine and you're going about that, and you can deal with that. So it helps when all these emotional things are coming up that you don't have to deal with 10 other things like your food, eating healthy. Am I going to have the willpower? Routine creates personal freedom. It is not restrictive. The only way it's restrictive is if you're restricting here, because you're refusing to grow and you're refusing to understand and go forward. And that's exactly what Paula said before. So that's where support comes in too, because sometimes our foundation can get rocked a little bit. But then that's all you need is the knock on the head that says, get back to your routine. Oh yeah, I was forgetting to do that.
Exactly. And I'm that one.
That's such a good point though, Kelly.
Right.
Like, hello, it's right here.
It's important to understand too, I think that a lot of people fear routine because they fear they lose control. Like that something is imposed upon them that is somebody else's agenda. And it's what you need to recognize and understand is that this is a routine that's supporting a result that you want. So link it to that. You know, it's not something that anybody else is imposing upon you. It's you choosing it because it supports a result. Again, it's knowing who you are, what you want, and getting the tools in alignment with that. So picking what you know you need to use as a tool. And our program isn't really just a tool. It's actually a toolbox of tools. It's lots of tools in it. But it helps you create the result that you want. You still have to be in the driver's seat. You still have to learn how to wield the sword and how to put on the armor and, you know, and use them all. Like that's still up to you. We'll show you all of that stuff. But Kelly, can you give us an overview of, you know, what our program is right now? We're talking about the HEROMOM diet. We have a challenge and documentary going on. That's we've got some ladies already in it, and then we're starting a new group tomorrow. And we've got new ladies who are in it. It's not too late to join in and jump in. But Kelly, can you give us kind of just an overview of what she's going to be, the HEROMOM is going to be experiencing in this program?
Absolutely. Once you get into the program, which we have marked down to an incredible price of $147, and this is basically for everything that we've created for HEROMOM. So once you're in, you're with us. You can't get rid of us. But we start, exactly. We start with some mindset work with Get It Done Week. We're going to ease you into healthier choices for eating. We're going to start digging in your brain a little bit to say, what's going on in there? You know, what's holding you back? What are some of your blocks? And then we're also going to work on some goal setting. And then we go into our next product, which is a 5-day belly blaster. And this is where we pick up some more healthy eating, getting more into the routine that's teaching you to use fat for energy instead of your carbohydrates. So it's getting you ready to get into the HEROMOM diet, which we'll have a prep week for that. So we have a whole week for that. And we go through so that you feel comfortable and you're getting ready, and then we launch into the HEROMOM diet. So, and that's where you're really going to experience the change, and you're going to teach your body the right things to do and how to sustain that, and how we go forward with, you know, eating well like that and sustaining that and getting through that. We have bonuses that help with emotional eating. We have exercise programs, we have meals, family-friendly meals, and we have our special bonus products, CBD oil and essential oils of creation that I made to support our hormones. And there'll be more coming up with those as I do my little creations. So it's all of that. Oh yes, cookbooks, free cookbooks. Michelle, I think, how many do we have now? 6 of them?
5 or 6. I think we said 6, but then the other day we could only name 5.
I know. So anyway, but there's more coming too. So it's not like it just ends with those, because Michelle's constantly creating.
Well, and there's in the website, once you become a member, you have access to, there's I think 60 or 70